Hello and welcome to this Wednesday upload. My name's Nicola if you're new here. If you're not, welcome back. This is just a video about back pain, but it's going to go over the next 6 weeks. So don't worry, it's not going to be a full 6-week video that you've got to watch. It's over 6 entries is what I'm trying to say, because I am currently attending a back pain clinic at the physio at hospital. Excuse my hair for blowing in the breeze, but I've got the doors open. It's quite hot today and I'm not feeling the best. I'm feeling very dizzy today, so just bear with me on this, okay? So I wanted to give you, I've got my cup of tea, go and get yours if you haven't got one, or a coffee. Cheers, decaf as always. I wanted to give you a bit of history on my back pain and why I suffer back pain, because a lot of us have back pain, don't we, for different reasons. But I was going to just give you a little brief outline of my story. So it was about 29 years ago I suffered a car accident. I was with Mark. Sorry if you can hear noises, that's trains in the background. Trains, planes and automobiles and all the rest. Yeah, so I was in a car accident with Mark 29 years ago, and I bruised my spinal cord and nerve endings and had to learn to walk again. I was in hospital for about 3 weeks. So that was a whole thing, obviously, and I managed that, got through that, and Mark still wanted to marry me. Incredible. And yeah, because we were like 17 then. Obviously I recovered from that, but your back never fully recovers. And then when I was pregnant with both girls, separately obviously, they're not twins, I had to be in a wheelchair and have physio throughout my pregnancies. I didn't have fibromyalgia then, but because of my back I had to be in a wheelchair then, because the pain was too bad. And they did say at the hospital, oh, one day when you have children it might be an issue, and it was. But it wasn't just my back, my pelvis separated as well, but we're talking backs today. So yeah, so my back was an issue then, carrying the children, and then I had MRIs and things on my back, and they discovered I've got degenerative disc disease, where your discs are basically wearing away. And I've had physio on and off on my back for a long time. Recently it's been hurting a lot on my right side, because I think the main culprit is using a walking stick. Because I'm right-handed, I use the walking stick on my right hand, so therefore, you know, it's putting pressure on that side. And I'm also got a trapped nerve in my shoulder that's been going on for months now, and I'll reach and do something and the pain. So I went to physio for all this, and they put me on this back course. It's a 6-week back pain course. It's a bit like the pain management course I did, but not as long. Like the pain management course, you check out my video on that, but I'll go into more detail with that. That was way more intense than this. This is an hour and a half every Friday, starting today. It started this morning. And they basically talk to you a bit about pain, and they also go through, like we did a bit of Pilates today as well, and I think we're doing Pilates again next week, and we're doing circuit training. Obviously all moves that we can do. There was about a group of 10 of us, I'm going to say. One other lady had fibromyalgia as well, and I was glad because she was kind of my voice. As you know, I'm very, if you know me, I am very socially awkward. So in situations like that, I absolutely hate it. And I will eventually start talking, and I will contribute to the group. But today I was just like a sit and observer. And this other lady that had fibromyalgia was way more confident than me with talking. So she was like my voice, and she said everything that I wanted to say, and I just sat there nodding, going yes, yes. What we did today, we were given this booklet. We had to wear a name badge so that they knew what our name was. And the funniest thing was, there were 2 physios there. The one that was leading it, I can't remember her name, and the other one, I looked after him when he was a baby at nursery. He's called Cameron, and he's now a physiotherapist. And he was the page boy at our wedding. And I thought, do you recognise me, Cameron? I don't know if you do, because it was a long time ago, but we have messaged each other since. So from Facebook, I said, oh, I don't know if you remember me. He said, yeah, of course I do. So, and I messaged him when I got out, and I said, how funny that, like, I looked after you as a baby and now you're looking after me. And he said, yeah, it was really, so obviously he did know that I was there, but I didn't know if he recognised me or not. Anyway, on to back pain. So today we learned a bit about pain. Again, a lot of it I knew. We talked about, no, well, we didn't. She talked about the fact that different sorts of pain, like acute pain, you'd think would go with acute tissue damage, but it doesn't always. So like she said, for example, when you stub your toe, that's acute pain, isn't it? But there's not much tissue damage apart from maybe a bruise. Sometimes you break your toe, but you know, like just a normal stub toe is acute pain but not much tissue damage. And you know, when you get a paper cut, it hurts like hell, so it's acute pain but hardly any tissue damage. So she said, you know, it's strange that you would associate acute pain with acute tissue damage, but it's not always the case. So we went through a bit about that, and then she went a bit about talking about how our brain works with pain. So she gave an example of a man was walking in Australia along the bush, and he sort of walked and was like, oh, what's that? And carried on walking, thinking it was just a twig poked him or something, and it was a snake had bit him, a brown snake had bit him, and he was like, his life was in danger basically. And he didn't know, because he just thought, his brain memory was like, oh, that feels like a twig, like I've just walked in and scratched my leg on a twig. And he survived. But then again, there was another time he was walking past the bush after that account with the snake, and the same thing happened again, but the pain was an awful lot more, because the brain had remembered that pain meant his life was in danger. So the brain was telling him, you're going to die, but it was a twig. It was a twig that time. But he was like in the most acute pain ever, because he thought his brain was telling him the last time that happened it was a snake. And you know, so the brain's very clever. It's too clever, isn't it, really? So it was talking a bit about how the brain processes pain. Now, to regards of back pain, depending on the reason for your back pain, and I will stress this throughout these 6 updates that I'm giving you, don't ever do anything that I'm saying unless you've had the okay with your GP or physio or whoever you're seeing, because I'm no medical professional. I am just Nicola, but I'm just informing you of what I've learned today, because I know a lot of you will find it helpful. So yeah, we didn't really go a lot about back pain today, but what we did learn, obviously, is they always say exercise is good, rest isn't the best, because when you rest things become tight, muscles become weak. They're going to say that, the physios, and to a degree they're right, but again, a lot of these people were healthy people other than their back. But me and this other lady that had fibromyalgia were like, yeah, we have to treat things a little bit differently. So we can't go out and have a jog or have a long walk because we're chronically ill, but you lot go ahead and crack on, you know. We have to find other ways of doing the exercise. But the Pilates I was very interested in. I've not done Pilates before. I've done a lot of yoga, but I've not done Pilates. And today we were learning about engaging our core. Now, I was going to show you what we learned, but one, I don't think I could get down and up again because I'm so dizzy. I think that might, well, I don't know if it was a reason, because I did get down on the mat. She said, "Do you want a bed to go on?" And I said, "No, I'll get down on the mat." And when I got up, I thought I'm going to pass out. But yeah, basically I'm going to try and put a clip in of what we learnt today, if I can find it on the internet anywhere. But it's laying flat on your back and then bending your knees up. So your feet are flat on the mat or the floor, but you're laying on your back and your knees are bent, right? Feet on the floor. And then we had to put our hands on our hips but bring them in a little bit. And then we had to take a deep breath in through our nose and then out through our mouth. And as you do that, you've got to try and engage your inner core, and by having your hands here you should be able to feel it pulling in a bit. I could feel it pulling in, but my core is shot after having 2 cesareans, a hysterectomy and multiple abdomen surgeries. My core is shot, so I tried my best is what I can say. But that's what we've been learning about the core. And then it was all about tilting your pelvis, so we had to tilt it back and then forwards and then find like the central position. And then we had to do an exercise where we breathe in through our nose, and as we breathe out and you engage your core, then we're sort of shuffling our foot forwards on the mat, not lifting it off the mat as I did wrong. You shuffle it forwards until it's stretched out and you flex your foot up, you know, and then on the in and out breath again you bring your leg back up. And that's the Pilates move we did today. We did that quite a few times. My back was killing me, and I said to the physio, "Should this really hurt?" Because I was getting cramp up my side. And she was like, "Well, yeah, because you've got back pain, so it's going to hurt." And she said even people without back pain would probably find that hurts. And I'm like, right, okay, no pain, no gain, as Mark says. Anyway, that's what I learned on the course today. I've got to go through this little booklet, see if I've got to like actually fill in anything. So this is telling us contents of each session. Session 1, overview of back to activity class and introductions, understanding pain, the benefits of exercise, and then a 15-minute intro to Pilates, which we did. And then session 2, it says pain fluctuations, working out your starting point for exercises or activities, how to set goals, and then 30 minutes of group exercise. So it just shows you here on this table what we are doing on each day, each session. One of the sessions I cannot do due to unforeseen circumstances, so I will be missing that one unless I can get it rearranged. So if that's the case, you'll have 5 updates. But I will update you on each session as I'm doing it, and whatever I've learned I will pass on to you. But hopefully I've found a little video on how to find your inner core and how to strengthen your inner core, because she said that's the most important thing, is working on your inner core, because obviously that supports your back. Anyway, I shall catch you in a moment. Okay, so this is week 2 of the back pain clinic diaries, if you like. So today we went through the booklet again. We were going on to goals and what your goals are. Basically, a goal is something that you would like to achieve, whether it be, I'd like to walk, like one of mine, I'll give you mine for example, be able to walk more than 5 minutes without pain. And my other one is to strengthen my core muscles. And another one would be to do my gardening for more than, say, 10 minutes without back pain, because I reckon as soon as I start gardening I get back pain. Anyway, so I'll read you a few of the things that it says on the booklet. So it says how to set goals, use some useful suggestions. Choose a meaningful goal that will improve your life. Be realistic about what you can do and set a deadline for doing it. Break down the goals into small steps that you can do. Write down your goals and reward yourself when you succeed. If you don't achieve your goal, learn from this. Try breaking the goal down into smaller steps and measure your baseline again. So it was all about the baseline today and how to measure that, and I'll tell you that in a minute. So it says a goal needs to be smart. Here is an example of a smart goal. So specific would be walk half a mile twice a week on flat ground. Measurable would be can time yourself to monitor progress. And applicable would be this takes you to a shop and back. Rewarding would be able to go and buy what you wanted, and timed to be achieved in 2 months. So it's called, let me show you on here, SMART. So it's SMART. So these are all the ones that I've just read out. Okay. Once you've worked out your goal using the SMART guidelines, you will need to plan how you will reach the goal. For example, if my goal was to mow the lawn once a week, then how would I break this down into tasks? So the first task would be plan how to get the mower out of the garage, check the mower has enough petrol, if it's a petrol lawnmower, or plugging it in, plan how to start it. If I need to pull a cord, then plan to perform that movement without resistance to start with, building up speed and adding resistance. Set a baseline of how long you can manage to push the mower for. Plan how to empty the grass cuttings, like for example start with the container half full, not completely full, and plan how to put the mower away. Some of these steps may need to be broken down even further. Use this sheet to start with your first goal. This should be a goal that will improve your fitness. So mine would be walking, I guess. You will, or strengthening my core muscles. They're both to do with fitness, aren't they? You'll most likely be working on this activity before the group sessions start. So, now, baseline. So you write, let me show you the paper. So you write your goal up here, and this is your baseline, which is day 1, day 2 and day 3 added together. Divide that number by 3 and take a little bit off, it says. So add the 3 days of activity. So example, if I'm walking for 5 minutes a day, it would be 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then divide that by 3. So dividing 15 by 3 would be 5, and then take a little bit off of that. So you could say 3 or 4. So I say, right, I'm going to walk for 3 or 4 minutes timed, and then I might increase, I'll walk that amount, those 3 times a day, like 3 times during the week. And then the following week I might increase it to 4 or 5, and then the following week I might increase it to 6, and then the following week I might increase it to 7. So it's very, very small steps to achieve your goal, and you can just keep increasing it. But then if like my back started hurting, you drop back down again. Do you see what I mean? So it's very, very small steps at a time. And that's what I kind of learned in the pain management course as well. Not just for fitness, but for anything you want to do. Like any little job. To say you wanted to hoover 2 rooms once a week. You know, you could break that down into how long that would take and divide that by the amount of time. You know, it's, to be honest, I think it's a lot of faff. And are people realistically going to be doing this? I don't think so. Unless you've got a lot of time on your hands. I don't think this is a realistic way of doing it. But anyway, we have to go with it. So then we've got this page here, which is baselines. And this is how to set your baseline. So think about how much you'll feel you will able to do and try out this amount. Write down how many times you did the exercise or for how long you did it. Think back on how day one went, change the amount. So it's all about breaking it down, like I say, into small pieces, which is what we do basically anyway, isn't it? But what they're trying to say is to gradually increase that activity. So say the hoovering took you 5 minutes max and that's all you could manage. Maybe the next week you could increase it to 6 minutes and see how you get on with that. Okay, next we went through this table here of, what is it called? Effects of inactivity and benefits of exercise. So the effects of inactivity are weak muscles, stiff joints and muscles, less fit, feel more tired, feel tense, muscles knot up, feel fed up and put on weight. I think all of us that are watching this can say, yep, yeah, agree with that. Effects of activity or exercise: strengthen muscles, improve flexibility, more energy, wind down or relax, get a natural high from endorphins and lose weight. Now that's all sounding great, but what that's not taking into account is fibromyalgia. So exercise, if I do any exercise, it doesn't give me more energy like a normal person would. It takes some of my energy, so quite a lot of my energy. So that I don't think is applicable to people with fibromyalgia. I think the effects of exercise for people with fibromyalgia, strengthening your muscles is really important, and your flexibility. We talked about pacing, which everyone knows how to pace. I don't know if I've got a video on pacing. Maybe that's one I can make in the future for you. But it's basically common sense, isn't it? It's just like doing something, then having a rest, then doing something else and having a rest, but not overdoing it. So as pain increases, we tend to do less and then the pain reduces, but that's not always the case with fibro, is it? My dilemma, before I show you this next part, is I'm not sure whether I'm going to go back to the pain clinic, because a lot of what they are saying that I have to sit through an hour of, I've already heard from the pain management clinic. And I just feel it's wasting my time, it's wasting their time having me there, and I'm really only there so that I can do this video because I've already heard it. The other reason I'm there is also for the exercises. We get half an hour exercise at the end, and if I had my way I'd have the full hour and a half exercise. Right, okay, so to access the videos of everything that I have been doing in clinic, I would like you to type into your Google search provide physiotherapy. I'm going to put it on the screen now. Okay, it's .org.uk, so that will come up. Click on that and then scroll down to back pain, and I want you to click on that. And once you've clicked on back pain, I want you to scroll up, right the way up, until it comes to videos, and I will show you here. So can you see that? Videos. Now all these little dots are all the videos on back pain, okay? So you can just scroll whichever way, hang on. You can look at each and every video and you just press play and it will play it for you. And then you can follow along with some of the exercises that I've done. So for example, a lot of it is Pilates today, but they do other circuits and things like that as well. But today we've been like really focusing on our core. So it's breathing in through your nose, and as you breathe out through your mouth, you have to engage your core, so really tighten it. Hello, right. I think this is the third entry for the back pain clinic. Now, as from now, I have left the back pain clinic. I probably briefly covered it before when I spoke to you last, but I felt there was an awful lot of sitting around and talking from the physio, which is fine, but I had heard the majority of what she was saying in the pain management course that I did previously, and I don't really want to sit there for an hour listening to Brian talking about his problems with his back, because that's how it felt. Plus this woman's phone was going off like constantly. Why the physio didn't say, can you just switch your phones off please, or just switch them to silent? It was driving me insane. I was at the point where I was going to say, can you just turn your phone to silent, because it was really getting on my nerves. So it must have been on the physio's nerves. And it's a woman that sat next to me, so I was hoping that she didn't think it was my phone, because it flipping wasn't. I turned mine on to silent straight away. Anyway, that's besides the point. The main reason is because I'd already covered a lot of it with the back pain clinic, and the exercises were good. If it had just been a 6-week course of exercises of how to strengthen your back, I'll be there. But all the chat before, I didn't need it. They probably did, but I didn't. So what I've decided to do now that I've left, I've still got the booklet that they gave me. So I'm going to go through the rest of this booklet with you now and read out any tips and advice that they give you, just so that you can benefit from it as well. I hope that is okay. So tips on medication. There are many types of medication that are prescribed to people experiencing back pain, like painkillers, mood modifiers, sleeping tablets, muscle relaxants, and anti-inflammatories. They can be a useful tool in the management of your back pain in order for you to be able to do more. In general, people find that taking the full recommended dose can be more effective. Also, if you wait until the pain is very high before you take anything, it may not work as well as if you take it earlier on. So when you first experience the pain, they're saying take your painkillers then. Try experimenting with this to find out what works best for you. So if my back's really bad, I have strong naproxen. But naproxen can also lead to stomach ulcers. And my stomach, as you know, isn't good. So I have to really minimise the use of the naproxen. If my back is that, I don't tend to take painkillers for my back pain. If it's that bad, I stick a heat pad on it. But I try to avoid tablets for my back. But if you have to take them, you take them when it's starting to get painful rather than when it's unbearable. In general, painkillers do not allow you to hurt yourself without knowing. That's interesting, isn't it? Because I thought some of the painkillers might numb an area and you wouldn't know if you injured it further, but obviously not. And not all medications suit everybody, we know that. Sometimes medication can cause side effects such as constipation, odd feelings, sleepiness, or over-alertness. Cool. Whatever medication gives you over-alertness, can I have some please? Consider reducing or stopping medication during good spells in discussion with your doctor. I don't think anyone's going to go to the doctor and say, can you stop my medication please, I'm having a good spell, because then might not restart it again. That's silly advice. If the side effects outweigh the benefits in pain relief, or if a medication just isn't working for you, then discuss this with your doctor, who may advise you on coming off of the medication or be able to suggest you try an alternative. Fair enough. Right, what have we got now? Tips on communicating with healthcare professionals. Remember that healthcare professionals have problems too. They work under many constraints such as time limits and lack of information. Healthcare professionals feel frustrated that they can't cure all health problems. They need to know why you are consulting them. A suggestion of how to get the most out of visits of healthcare professionals like doctors is given below. So it says prepare a written list of your main concerns. Ask questions about these concerns early in the visit so that they have time to answer them. Repeat back to the doctor the key points discussed during the visit. This gives you both the opportunity to correct any misunderstandings, and then take action if there are barriers to following the doctor's recommendations, and let your doctor know. Unhelpful thoughts. Have you ever done too much knowing that it's going to cause a flare-up all the time? Or felt so fed up by the ongoing pain that you don't feel like trying and so give up on a certain activity? Not really. Research shows that when we are faced with a task or a situation, it is the thoughts that we are having about the situation that produces emotions, which then drive what we do. We don't seem to act on impulse, even if it feels like that sometimes. Okay? The way that we think in a situation is different for every one of us and depends on what has happened to us before or what we have learned from others. For example, if someone has arranged to meet a friend at a cafe at a certain time and they didn't turn up, he or she could think something's happened. This would make them feel worried, and they might act on this by trying to phone around. Another person in the same situation may think they have forgotten, which could make them feel irritated, and they would act by not waiting and walking off. So 2 different emotions ending up in 2 different results. We could say that if our behaviour has been unhelpful, then the thought behind it was an unhelpful thought. In this way, it is worth tackling unhelpful thoughts about our back pain to prevent us managing it in unhelpful ways. We need to bear in mind that our thoughts don't always reflect what is going on. They can just be thoughts we are having. Unhelpful types of thoughts about back pain could include black and white thinking, I can't do it the way I used to, so I might as well not bother. Catastrophizing, I can't cope with the pain anymore. Should must statements, I should be able to vacuum the whole house, so I'm going to. Jumping to conclusions, my back always plays up when I sit in a restaurant. They think I'm making it up. Mental filter, arthritis gets worse over time. Critical self, I've got myself into this mess, even my thinking is wrong. Right, so what have they given you? Some examples. So what they're saying here, they've given a table, okay? So the top one's saying about hoovering. Seeing the hoovering needs doing, thought is I can't do it, I can't risk it. Feeling is frustrated and nervous. Behaviour or action is avoid hoovering or ask someone else to do it. And the answer back thought, it will be difficult, but if I can do it, if I stick to my plan to spread it out. So not doing all the hoovering at once. They said that on the pain management course. They said to do 1 room at a time. And when I lived in the house, I would do 1 level at a time. So I'd do one, like the ground floor one day, and then another day I'd do the top floor. And that worked well, but I don't think I could just hoover 1 room. I think that would be pretty pointless. But if that's all you can manage, pointless for me, but if that's all you can manage is hoover in 1 room at a time, go for it, split it up. Wake up with pain. There's no point, I'm no better, I might as well give up. Feeling fed up. Behaviour, spend the day in bed eating chocolate. Who does that? I'd love to do that. I wouldn't want to spend the day in bed every day because that hurts me more, but eating chocolate, yeah. And the answer back thought is my pain is the same, but I'm doing more. I'll get on top of this like I have with other things before. They're basically trying to change your mindset. So you're thinking, I'm in pain again, I'm not going to do it, it's going to make it worse. And then you might end up doing what you've done to break it up into little sections and then realising that hasn't made it worse. That's what they're trying to say, to break it up, break it down, not like do loads all at the same time. Right, avoidance of movement or activity. So we've got this little, this little wheel here. You can pause it and read it if you want to. When we've hurt our back, there seems to be typical movements or activities that cause pain when we do them. As a result, we naturally avoid doing them in the early stages as it hurts too much to ignore it. when we've avoided something for a long time, we can get into this vicious cycle. So let's start up the top. Situation: try to lift and get pain. Thoughts: I shouldn't be doing this, I'm going to hurt myself. Feelings are worried and nervous. Action is avoid the lifting. Result: muscles and joints use less, so get weak and stiff. Now, I've just put this to action in my head, not about my back, but about my walking. Now, if I had this mindset and said, right, okay, so situation is I'm going to walk 5 miles. Thoughts: I shouldn't be doing this because I know I can't do it, basically. I couldn't walk 5 miles. I couldn't do it. I know why, because my muscles are weak, so therefore I need to build them up, but it's also due to pain as well, and fatigue. It's a vicious circle. So feelings would be worried and nervous, definitely I would be. Action would be avoid walking and go on my scooter or my wheelchair. Results: muscles and joints use less, so get weak and stiff. Yeah, absolutely. But in my case, with fibromyalgia and ME, that would be difficult, but I could, in an ideal world, where we could go back to that plan where you break it down. So every day for a week you go for a walk for what I could do, say 4 minutes. So every day I go for a walk for 4 minutes. Then the next week I go for every day for a walk for 5 minutes. And then the next week I go every day for a walk for 6 minutes. And so on until I build up my walking. Yeah, I'm sorry. 1, who is going to time themselves? 2, who can find time every day to do this? Because I certainly couldn't, and I don't work. I mean, I've got YouTube, but I can't be walking every single day. Plus, I don't know how I'm going to feel every day. I might not be up to it. So I know what they're trying to say, but in an ideal world, that's not always going to happen. But I am trying to strengthen my legs more, because I am doing more like short workouts. I've done more squats, which are good for strengthening your legs. So I am trying to do more things, but it's not just the fact that my legs are weak, it's the fatigue as well. I get tired very, very quickly. So I think this yeah, I can see what they're trying to say, but they've got to be with the real world here, surely, you know? Right, relaxation. What is relaxation? Relaxation reduces tension. Tension is our body's reaction to stress. This can make your pain feel worse. Relaxation can cut into the horrible cycle of pain, more tension, and can stop pain getting worse. Do I need special equipment? The best relaxation skills are those that you can use anytime, anywhere, and in any position. For example, if you're stuck in traffic and feel your muscles tensing, that's me all the time. Or I stop breathing, I like hold my breath and I'm like, Nick, breathe. Or I like clench my jaw, or yeah, definitely. Then you need to be able to start your relaxation skills sitting down. The best way to become good at relaxation skills is to practice them at first when your pain is not so bad, so that when the pain is worse, you know what to do. And I do that with, I've talked about it before in my fibro sections, called pain transference, and it does work. You should try it. So if I get a pain in one area, say I had pain in this wrist and it was getting worse, and all my mind was focused on is this wrist and how much it hurts. So then you would look at another part of your body. Say this part of my arm, it actually feels lovely. I've got no pain there, and I can concentrate on that part of the arm and say, oh, that part of my arm feels so nice. It feels soft and comfortable and pain-free. And you're trying to refocus your brain to that nice feeling rather than that painful feeling. Do you see what I mean? So pain transference definitely does work, but not in all circumstances. So sometimes if I'm on a flare or in like the cooler weather's coming and I can feel it, I can feel it in my bones. I know, because my fibro pain rockets in the burr months. I love the burr months. My body does not love the burr months. So yeah, when I get it really bad, then it's hard for my brain to focus on the good part of my body. But I do try my best. I don't give up. I do keep on trying, because it can help alleviate that pain just for a short while. Try it. What you got to lose? Why do I find relaxing difficult? Most people find relaxing difficult as it is not something that we normally do. We often feel that we don't have the time to relax, or that spending time relaxing is a waste of time. And for this reason, relaxing is often linked with being lazy. You need to make time for yourself to practice relaxation, as it is an important tool in managing your pain. So we've got deep breathing, stretching to relax your muscles. Don't forget, I've got my meditation videos on YouTube. And I've got a 3-hour relaxing music as well. You should try that. Other relaxation techniques. Visualization or imagery, which is closing your eyes, creating a relaxing scene in your mind's eye. My therapist, one of my therapists, I've had a few, she asked me where was my safe space. And when I was seeing her at the time, it was my garden and my fairy garden. And I had to take myself there. Every time something got too much, when I was talking to her about a past trauma, she would say, right, close your eyes, take yourself to your safe space. She'd feel the grass in your toes, and it's just taking yourself back there, and it does help. It does help. Autogenic relaxation, what's that? Autogenic relaxation uses both visual imagery and body awareness. You focus on different physical sensations, moving from the feet to the head. Not heard of that. You might focus on warmth and heaviness in the limbs, or imagine a red warm dot moving from your toes up and around your body, spreading warmth along its way. Ooh! Start this technique with some deep breathing. Become aware of how your right arm is feeling. As you take slow, relaxed breaths in and out, say in your head, my right arm is feeling heavy, my right arm is feeling heavier, my right arm is feeling warm. Then move on to your other arm and repeat the steps. Why would you want it to feel heavy? Maybe it's just trying to relax you, because your body gets heavy and limp, doesn't it, when you get relaxed? Maybe that's why it says heavy. And then repeat on each leg. Return at the end to focus on your breathing, taking slow, deep breaths. I've heard of, in yoga, she taught me, what was it? It was where you do a body scan. So she said if you're having trouble sleeping at night, if you do a body scan, so you go, like, you literally start from your head and you go to your eyes, your nose and your mouth, and just go, how do my eyes feel? How does my nose feel? I can feel my mouth, I can feel my chin, and you go through every single body part, like your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. You go through every single body part, and that's supposed to drop you off to sleep. So try that. I have tried that before. It does work. That works as well. Oh, here we go. Coping with flare-ups. Let's see what they've got to say about that, shall we? Progress. What would be a good plan for good spells? Progress exercises and goals. Add new goals. Reduce medications. Enjoy yourself. They're obsessed with medications, aren't they, health professionals? Plan ahead. Stay active and practice relaxation. What would be a good plan during a flare-up? Carry on. Review baseline, which means your limits. Review medication. Basically take it. Set goals. Relaxation. Now you're talking. Allow personal time. Yes, absolutely. If possible, identify triggers, learn from it and plan for next time. However, often there is no cause. Exactly. often there is no cause. Or if there is a cause, like the weather, I'm sorry, but I cannot affect how the weather's going to be. I'm not, you know, Miss Weather person that can wave a wand and say, right, you're going to be sunny and warm for the rest of the year. I can't do that, and the weather affects my flare-ups. Not my fault. If however, I overdo things, it's my fault. And I should plan accordingly next time. But yeah, when they say carry on during a flare-up, I understand this, because you could quite easily just give up and stay in your bed, and I can completely understand the feeling of doing that. But I do carry on in a flare-up, and I try my best to get up. I might not have a shower, but I'll have a wash, and I'll attempt a bit of makeup so that when I look in the mirror, I don't look like death as how I feel. I think, oh, you don't look too bad. And then I will usually come to the sofa and watch YouTube. I might do some craft. I will get up every half an hour, make drink or do something, or a little small job like putting a bit of washing away. But I do carry on during flare-ups because it is important. Unless my ankles or feet give way, then I'm stuffed and I'm on the sofa. Right, that's it. That's the end of the course. So I hope you've learnt something from this course. Don't forget to go on to Provide. Sorry, this has got my makeup on it. I must have had it on my hands and smudged it. Provide online. Go to back pain and then scroll down to the videos at the bottom, and you can look at all the different exercises that they recommend you to do for back pain. That'd be really interesting and helpful for you. But yeah, I hope you've gained some sort of knowledge. There's some that is good, some that's rubbish, plain. I hope you've learnt some things. Like I say, there's some good, some bad, and can take away some things that you can work on to do with your back, especially the strengthening exercises that they show you on the videos. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Oh, just made the camera wobble. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already for future videos, and I will see you all on Saturday for the weekly. Take care.